Breaking up is tough, but staying in the wrong relationship, that's a slow burn that'll drain the life out of you. Sometimes we hold on because it's comfortable or because change feels like jumping into the deep end without a life jacket. But here's the tea. Your peace and happiness aren't negotiable. If you've been questioning whether it's time to let go, you're not alone. Spoiler alert, you probably already know the answer. This video isn't about being petty or pointing fingers. It's about being real with yourself. We'll go over the subtle signs, the red flags you've been ignoring, and those gut feelings you keep brushing off. By the end, you'll have the clarity to decide if this is worth fighting for or if it's time to walk away. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just the truth you need to hear from your trusted internet friend. So, grab a drink, get comfy, and let's dive into the nitty-gritty of breaking up.
Got it.
Not because you're giving up, but because you're leveling up. Trust me, this is the self-care moment you've been waiting for. Recognizing emotional disconnect.
Okay.
All right, so let's get real.
Let's go.
Have you ever been out with someone and realized you're vibing more with your phone than with them? Yeah, that's a red flag, my friend. Relationships should feel like teamwork, not like you're auditioning for Survivor, Emotional Edition. If you're the one always texting first or trying to keep the convo alive while they're over there giving energy levels of a dying phone battery, it's time to hit pause and reassess. Sometimes, the silence isn't peaceful. It's telling you something. Here's the deal. Relationships run on energy, and if one of you is constantly on E, the car's not going anywhere. Think about it like this. If your partner is treating you more like background noise than the main event, what's even the point? Check those patterns. Are they consistently unavailable, dismissive, or just straight up not putting in the effort? It might be time to admit you're rowing a boat solo, and let's be real. That's exhausting. The hardest part? Admitting it to yourself. It's tempting to brush it off as just a phase, but phases don't last forever. Emotional disconnects often do. Instead of waiting for things to magically fix themselves, start a convo like, "Hey, I've noticed things feel different lately. What's up?" If their response is crickets or some vague excuse, well, you've got your answer. Which brings us to the next big question. What does love actually look like when it's working? The work of love. Love isn't just about butterflies or epic movie moments, all right? It's in the little things like remembering they take oat milk in their coffee or actually listening when they vent about their annoying coworker. Love is showing up consistently. If one of you is out here doing a whole Broadway performance of effort while the other's barely mumbling their lines, that's a sign. Real talk. A strong relationship is less about grand gestures and more about those everyday actions that say, "I'm here and I care."
Got it.
But here's where people get it twisted. Love takes work. It's not supposed to feel like a 24/7 struggle. But if you think it's always going to be sunshine and rainbows, I've got news for you. It's not. The magic happens when both people commit to figuring things out together. Something as small as asking, "How can I make today easier for you?" can change the game. It's not rocket science, but it does take effort, and that effort, it has to come from both sides. And now the plot twist. Love isn't just about what they're doing for you, it's about what you're bringing to the table, too. Are you giving what you're asking for? If the scales are wildly out of balance, someone's going to feel the weight eventually. So, let's flip the question. Are both of you doing your part, or is it a one-sided show? That answer will take us to the heart of what makes love last, or why it starts to fall apart. Unequal efforts. All right, let's paint a picture. You're out here dancing your heart out, and your partner's just standing there, scrolling on their phone. That's what an unbalanced relationship feels like. A lot of awkward effort and not much payoff. If you're constantly the one making plans, apologizing first, or fixing problems, you're not in a partnership, you're in a solo act. And newsflash, relationships are supposed to be a duet. Here's the thing. Effort isn't about keeping score like you're in a game of Monopoly. It's about making sure neither of you feels like you're running a marathon while the other's taking a nap. Sometimes it's subtle, like always being the one to text "good morning." And other times, it's in your face obvious, like being the only one who ever says, "Let's talk about this." If this sounds like your reality, it's time for a serious check-in with yourself. But wait, it's not always malicious. Life happens.
Got it.
People get busy or caught up in their own dramas. Still, if this lopsided vibe is the norm, resentment's gonna sneak in like an uninvited guest at a party. And that resentment is a relationship killer. So ask yourself, do you feel seen and supported? Or are you just playing emotional tug-of-war? That's where we start digging into what you actually need to feel whole. Evaluating needs. Let's get honest. When's the last time you really thought about what you need in a relationship? Not what looks good on paper, not what keeps things easy, but what actually fills your cup. A healthy relationship isn't about settling for breadcrumbs. It's about feeling respected, supported, and valued. If you're constantly left hanging, wondering where you stand, it's time to step back and ask yourself, is this really enough? Here's a little exercise. Grab a notebook and jot down your top 3 non-negotiables. Maybe it's communication, affection, or just feeling like you're on the same team. Whatever they are, compare them to what's happening now. If the gaps are glaring, you've got some clarity. Relationships should be like planting a tree. The soil has to be good or nothing's gonna grow, no matter how much watering you do. And let's be real, it's not about demanding perfection. It's about finding balance between what you're giving and what you're getting.
Nice.
If your needs are consistently ignored or brushed off, it's okay to feel disappointed. That's valid. The key is deciding if the relationship has room to grow, or if it's time to stop pouring into something that isn't giving back. Speaking of tough calls, let's talk about what it takes to make the leap. The courage to leave. Leaving isn't about failure. It's about finally choosing you. Think of it like holding onto a rope that's burning your hands. Every second hurts more, but letting go feels scary because it means facing the unknown. The truth is, staying in something that drains you doesn't make you strong. It just delays your freedom. And yeah, freedom can be terrifying, but it's also where all the good stuff begins. Picture this, packing a bag for a trip. You wouldn't bring stuff you don't need, right? Relationships work the same way. If it's weighing you down more than lifting you up, it's okay to leave it behind. Start small. Ask yourself why you're still holding on. Is it love, guilt, fear, or just habit? Understanding what's keeping you there is the first step to breaking free. And let's not sugarcoat it, walking away isn't easy. You're leaving behind memories, comfort, and maybe even a version of yourself you hope to hold on to. But consider this, by staying, you're closing the door on everything new and better that's waiting for you. The leap feels big, but the payoff? Worth it. And once you take that step, you'll see, endings are just new beginnings in disguise. Breaking up doesn't mean you failed. It means you listened to what your heart and mind were trying to tell you. It's about choosing yourself, even when it's hard. Life's too short to settle for something that's dimming your light. Remember, endings aren't the opposite of love. Sometimes, they're the most loving thing you can do for yourself. So, where do you go from here? You take a breath, you grieve, you grow, and you move forward. The best part? You're clearing space for something or someone that aligns with your worth.
Got it.
And hey, this isn't goodbye. It's a fresh start. If this video spoke to you, don't keep the clarity to yourself. Hit like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more no BS life advice. Your next chapter is waiting. Let's get there together.